I didn't have the most loving upbringing as a child, and my wife and daughter were killed in a house fire, and it kind of destroyed me because they were my world, they were my life. Everything revolved around them. I started drinking really heavily, and because that would let me sleep. And over time, the drinking led to methamphetamines and eventually into heroin. I felt like it was just me against the world. For about 25 years approximately, I would just bounce around the country all over the place. I mean, I lived everywhere from Florida to Chicago, back to Los Angeles, Dallas, anywhere, Springfield, Missouri, Omaha. At the time, I thought it was pretty cool, you know. I had no responsibility. I mean, I had no one to answer to, including myself. Mostly I stayed in shelters or under bridges or camped out in the woods or something like that, depending upon where I was. I'd get up, I'd shoot up, I'd lay around doing whatever, I'd go to work, and then I would go home and just isolate myself. Eventually, the drug use led to my doing things that I should not have done outside the law, and I stole a truck and got caught with it. Didn't take very long for them to catch me either. I got charged with grand theft. I did 2 years in prison in Nebraska, and then South Dakota extradited me just a week before I was due to get out and charged me with the same crime. And I did 5 years in prison here. And eventually, they downgraded me enough to where I got to come to one of the minimum work release units. And I actually asked to go to Yankton because it was closer to Omaha, where all my drug dealer friends were. But they sent me to Rapid City instead. Sunday is when Fountain Springs has their service at the minimum unit. And boy, did they irritate me, because at 9:30 every Sunday morning, boom, 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 here comes the music. And of course, it's Christian music, and I wanted to have absolutely nothing to do with that. In fact, I was one of the guys that all the Christians stayed away from, because I was actively trying to turn people against God at that point in my life. While I was still working at Serval, a young lady got a job there, and we kind of hit it off almost right from the start, as far as she saw right through me. She knew that I was a big phony, and she befriended me. And over time, she and her mom kind of were just dropping hints about going to church. And eventually I finally just said, okay, I'll come to church just to get you off my back, but I'm not making any promises. I'll go one time and I'll probably never go again. To me, it was very odd, because here I'm walking in the door, and every church experience I had had in the past, people kept to themselves. But here I got 3 guys at the front door shaking my hand saying welcome. And I get in the door, and there's another guy and a gal shaking my hand saying welcome. And it was like a big family. And that really started to break down the walls for me, because I could actually feel something that I had not had in my life for so many years, and that was love. I mean, these people acted like they cared about me, and they didn't know me at all. Didn't know my past, didn't know my story, didn't know that I was full of hate, didn't know that I didn't want to have God in my life, that I was just there because I felt an obligation to a friend. Something about Fountain Springs, as soon as I walked in the door, all those barriers, they were stripped away. And the day that I was baptized, I have to honestly say right now, is the most important day of my life. More important than everything that's ever happened to me in the past. And quite frankly, probably more important than anything that would happen to me in the future. When Keenan dipped me in that water and I came back out, the weight of the world was gone, literally gone. It was like God took everything away from me and put the burden onto him. And I can't believe I didn't do that sooner, because I was carrying so much weight, and now it's gone. I wake up in the morning now looking forward to the day, instead of dreading waking up at all. I want to live, and I want to live for God, and I want to show the world what Jesus is.